Not that I support everything IPOB has done. Other groups have talked about it. The likes of Father Kuka has been speaking about the killings of Christians in this country. Even Reno Mokri have been speaking. If you want me, if you have the time, I can read some of Reno Mokri's past tweets.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Oba's Trending Gist. Today we are diving deep into a series of pressing issues currently shaking Nigeria, from tragic tanker explosions exposing our crumbling infrastructure and the harrowing human cost of poverty, to the complex and often dangerous narratives surrounding religious tensions and alleged genocides. We will also examine a controversial case of judicial overreach by a Sharia court. This isn't just about headlines, it is about understanding the underlying challenges shaping our nation. We've got clips from the Arise News morning show where Ojy Okpe, Rufai Oseni and Vimbai brings their critical insights. Let's get right into it. Sit back and take a watch.
We're beginning what's trending on the sad note by mourning the loss of 42 people who were killed in Niger State after a gasoline-laden tanker crashed and exploded in Kacha local government area. The explosion occurred as some residents attempted to scoop petrol from a turned tanker at Essa village along the Ige-Bida road on Tuesday afternoon. Preliminary police investigation showed the crash was a lone incident caused by a loss of control by the tanker driver, with many victims sustaining severe burns. Niger State Governor Umar Bago described the tragedy as worrisome, unfortunate and pathetic, calling it yet another painful and difficult moment for the people and the state government.
Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un.
This is such a sad incident. Eyewitness account revealed that the fatality would have been less if victims had listened to advice not to scoop petrol from the fallen tanker. A local community leader lamented that over 30 tankers had been involved in accidents on the same road within this month due to deplorable state of the road, appealing to Governor Umar Bago to urgently grade the area. Reactions have trailed, and I'll take Atiku Abubakar's tweet. He wrote in part, "What's even most disheartening about the Tuesday tragedy incident is that the residents in the area where it happened are blaming it on the deplorable state of the Bida-Badegi-Age road, which caused the tanker to overturn and explode. However, the ignorance and continued weaponization of poverty in our country also ensured that many were killed as they attempted to scoop fuel from the fallen vehicle. As a critical transport artery, the Bida-Badegi-Age road is the only route of moving petroleum products from Lagos and other southern states to northern Nigeria. Thus, the pressure on the road, coupled with its poor state, has made it a graveyard of sorts. Its rehabilitation and the rehabilitation of other critical infrastructure projects needs to be prioritized. First of all, may their souls rest in peace. The numbers they're saying are increasing at this moment. Ayo, you heard Atiku Abubakar there, and this is the voice of a strong opposition. Whether or not we like it, it is important that we pay attention to such a critical infrastructure like that road that leads, this petrol from Lagos to the northern states. Absolutely. Your thoughts?
So first of all, really sad, and our condolences to the governor of Niger State as well as the people of Niger State and family members that have been affected by this disaster. This is one disaster too many. And it's unfortunate that we keep coming back to talk about very similar issues that have a solution or that we can prevent largely. Number one is this. When the Minister of Works, Minister Dave Umahi, was here on the show, I asked him that it would be nice for us to talk about other roads in Nigeria, that federal roads that need urgent attention. In fact, some viewers had actually been sending names of roads that are in deplorable conditions. We asked him and he said, oh, they're working on it. They issued some contract, giving some contracts out. The other thing I asked was, can we have a website so we can use technology to actually track on some of these roads that have been given contracts for to be fixed, and let's see the updates on this.
Yes.
This brings me to the point that was made on the floor of the House of Representatives yesterday by Honorable Saidu Abdullahi from Niger State, who had said, as a matter of urgent national concern, to look into that road, that in the last few months and even in decades, a number of contracts have been awarded for that road to be fixed with nothing being done. And that is why accountability means a lot, and corruption kills people, as we have seen in Niger State at this point. One is that we must ensure that our roads are motorable, because we cannot continue to talk about tanker explosions, tanker being, on the roads killing people. Number two is that, it's like Dr. Abati would say, every time you go out to scoop fuel, you're signing a death sentence. It is suicidal. So can we please raise awareness? We've asked the National Orientation Agency to run a campaign around this. Yes, people will go there because they are poor and all that, but poverty is not an excuse to kill yourself and cause such damage. Finally, the point I'd like to also make is, can we also find alternative modes of transportation for moving fuel? We've talked about rail, we've talked about that, so that we take these tankers off the road, whether it be in Niger State, in Oyo State, in Lagos State, across Nigeria. We keep hearing of these sad incidents of tanker drivers either exploding or even killing people. We have to come to an end. We can't keep talking about this without doing anything about it.
Well said, Ayo. Very well said. I hope that the government is listening. Again, may their souls rest in peace. Let's now highlight this investigative report by the cable's open source intelligence analysis, which revealed that certain social media echo chambers affiliated with the indigenous peoples of Biafra have played significant roles in amplifying claims of a Christian genocide in Nigeria. Well, according to the cable, data from X showed that between January 1st and October 1st, 2025, there were approximately 165,000 mentions of the topic, reaching an estimated 2.83 billion people, a figure more than 12 times Nigeria's population. Four prominent hashtags emerged: hashtag Christian genocide, Truth Nigeria, Lara Logan, and Biafra Exit Now, which was an unusual part of the discourse. Confidence Makhari, a senior geopolitics analyst at SBM Intelligence, stated that the story about Christian genocide in Nigeria was initiated by IPOB as far back as 2016. The analysis found that X accounts promoting Biafra and Nnamdi Kanu were the most vocal online, particularly those supporting IPOB's separation from Nigeria. The cable also found that U.S. Senator Ted Cruz, who has pushed for sanctions against Nigeria, received $1.8 billion in donations from IPAC, a pro-Israel lobbying group. I mean, this investigation reveals, complex layers of international politics, separatist agendas, and religious narratives intersecting in Nigeria's security discourse. Rufai, we're hearing that IPOB is one of the, groups that have promoted this hashtag Christian genocide. But I mean, we have seen major killings. But before I come to you, I'll take this story. Meanwhile, the Christian Association of Nigeria has faulted the statement released by a special advisor to the president on policy communication, Daniel Bwala, after a meeting with the association in Abuja. The dispute centers on how Bwala characterized CAN's position on allegations of Christian genocide in Nigeria. On Monday, Bwala visited CAN's National Secretariat amid allegations of Christian genocide and moves by some U.S. lawmakers to protect persecuted Christians. In his statement, Bwala quoted CAN President Daniel Oko as referring to the issue as so-called Christian genocide narrative. However, in a statement on Tuesday, Oko said the association did not describe the killings as so-called Christian genocide, stating that Bwala's release falsely suggested that the association downplayed the killings of Christians. And I'll read CAN's statement in part. The Christian Association of Nigeria wrote, CAN made it clear that its position on this issue has long been established and remains unchanged across many parts of northern Nigeria and the Middle Belt. Christian communities have suffered repeated, organized, and brutal attacks, which have left thousands dead, villages destroyed, and families displaced. The meeting was recorded by CAN's media team, and at no point did Archbishop Oko use such words or express such a view, while referring to the tragedy as a so-called genocide, trivializes the pain of countless Christians who have lost loved ones. And that is a fact, Rufai. We often raise concerns about government communication strategies. This is yet another example. This is a sensitive topic and should have been, handled with the sensitivity it deserves. The portrayal of religious community positions on sensitive national security issues shouldn't be trivialized. Meanwhile, religious leaders and activists attending a roundtable in Abuja on building synergy among faith-based NGOs for freedom of religion or beliefs have criticized the widespread culture of impunity surrounding mob killings in the name of blasphemy, lamenting that those responsible are seldom persecuted. They argue that Nigeria's destruction of the liberal spirit of its constitution stems from allowing religious doctrines to influence state laws. The CEO of Christian Awareness Initiative of Nigeria, John Hayab, during the meeting also decried killings of Christians. And let's take a listen to him, Rufai, before I come to you.
Nigerians are being killed, and Nigerians are crying that this killing must stop. Fortunately for us, Ted Cruz started the conversation in America, but we too are the victims, and we are saying this conversation affects us and do something to stop it. So if you want to stop anything, just stop the killing. That's all. If this killing is not stopped, then this conversation will continue to generate other issues. Stop the killings. Prove that you don't want this killing. Let victims see that you don't want these killings. Parents, relatives of victims realize that those who kill their loved ones, the law is going after them.
And Mr. Joseph here has made the exact point. If we want this whole thing to stop, we have to stop the killings. It's not about painting Nigeria in a bad light or not. We have actually seen Christian killings. And there are videos of mass burials in Plateau State that have, resurfaced online, showing, humongous coffins and all of that. It's really a sad situation, but we shouldn't trivialize it. I'd like for you to, talk about CAN's clarification with Daniel Bwala apparently trivializing the sensitivity of these Christian killings as well.
I think the attempt by the cable to rope IPOB into this, I think is highly condemnable. Because when you check the data and the statistics, not only IPOB that has been talking about the killings of a lot of Christians in this country. And I think let's not sway into tribal divisions. It's not fair. It's not fair.
What do you mean tribal? IPOB is a group?
No, IPOB is a group that is tilted towards a particular group. You saying that it was only IPOB that have been talking about Christian genocide online accounts lead to IPOB is very tribalistic in nature. Not that I support everything IPOB has done. Other groups have talked about it. The likes of Father Kuka has been speaking about the killings of Christians in this country. Even Reno Mokri have been speaking. If you have the time, I can read some of Reno Mokri's past tweets as regards the killing of Christians.
Yes, he was the huge campaigner of Freely Ashari.
Freely Ashari. So I can talk about, the attempt for you to say it's not only IPO. Even Father Kuka, most of the people that...
No, I don't think, to be fair to the cable, they did not say only IPOB. They listed, if I did send you the investigation.
I saw it, but what was said...
It wasn't just only IPOB.
What was said was that accounts leaked to IPOB. You can go back and read the story.
Yeah.
This is not the time for tribal baiting. Please. It's not going to move us forward. I'm saying that because, Ojy, I love this country so much. And when narratives like this start to jump, we start to go, no. Everybody has talked about Christian genocide. We have all been affected one way or the other. People have been affected. But what we're also saying is, I'm also part of those advocating that, please, I don't want Nigeria to be on that list of countries of concern. Because it's not going to augur well for us. And that's why I'm saying government agencies, go speak to them, while we also find a solution to the killing internally here. But for the fact that we are trying to say it's not happening, no, don't lose me there. It is happening. All this one that you're seeing in Benue, it's not that is it IPOB that recorded this video? No. It is happening. We have a problem on our hands. Christians and Muslims are being killed. Should people even be killed in this large number in the first place? I think that's the question we should ask ourselves. Look at people that are being buried today. So while we go to liaise with them, we should also speak the truth. And like I also said, please, anybody that's not trying to use the propaganda and turn things around. Because see, in fact, let me even read some, statements attributed to Father Kuka in the past. You know, in an interview, he affirmed that there's violence against Nigerian Christians and had the characteristics of genocide according to international law. This is a 2020 interview. So we've all said this in the past. There's even an ECHO report by the UK. Kuka's comment in 2020 followed by ECHO finding of June 2020 report by the UK All-Party Parliamentary Group for International Freedom of Religion titled Nigeria Unfolding Genocide. So please, how we can stop it and stop this blasphemy? I mean, we've been here when we've talked about issues of blasphemy of some sort now. And the way people have been out there. Well, we're not here when we talked about, I had not joined the rise then. Eunice Olawale's case was longer. But other people that they keep, it's not Deborah's case.
Deborah, which is still...
it's not Deborah's case. We talked about Deborah's case. And no one. And what, see, Ojy, let's even tell ourselves the truth. What happened after Deborah's case is the shocking one. When the people were arrested, didn't the city erupt? Weren't there squabbles? Weren't churches now attacked? I mean, let's tell ourselves the truth in this country.
Right.
So please, everybody has been talking about, let's solve the problem. That's all that matters. And as regards the tanker accident, Ojy, the point I just quickly want to make is, you see, culture will eat strategy for breakfast. If an accident happens in civilized parts of the world, the area is first cordoned off. If the area is cordoned off, people will not be able to go and scoop in the first place.
Right.
So those are the problems here.
Vimbai, like I was saying, to be fair to the cable, they did a deep research and they had detailed, I did send you the research. I detailed the number of groups and people that have spoken about the, Christian genocide as well. But let me take this before I come to you. Speaking at the Vatican, the Catholic Bishop of Sokoto Diocese, Matthew Hassan Kuka, urged the U.S. government not to redesignate Nigeria as a country of particular concern, a designation reserved for nations committing systematic, ongoing, egregious violations of religious freedom. Kuka argued that a CPC status would hinder current government initiatives aimed at resolving Christian persecution. He also warned that the designation would only increase fears, tensions, sow doubt, open windows of suspicion, and allow the criminals and perpetrators of violence to exploit. Instead, the bishop appealed for the U.S. to lift the weapons ban to allow Nigeria to better fight extremist groups. We're seeing that there's even a weapons ban from the United States, and which is a huge call. I think this is how we begin to tackle this menace of genocide in Nigeria.
For me, with all that's going on, the main word that continues to stick in my head is sovereignty. There's no country on the face of this green earth that doesn't have its issues and its challenges. Yes, they vary in extremity. However, it is the onus of that country to resolve its problems. We cannot invite outsiders, foreigners, to come and solve our own problems. It has been done in the past, not just in Nigeria, in several places. It does not solve problems. It does not lead to the best interest of the Nigerian citizen. Because when you call a country X, Y, or Z to come and solve your problem, that country is looking after its own specific interest. So our local advocates, our local politicians, our local, whatever they may be, the first thing is to prioritize Nigeria. I understand that it may be in good faith that people run overseas to see who can help them because they feel they're not being heard locally. But let this be a warning that help from overseas has proven to always be detrimental to countries and to the locals in most cases around the world. Here in Africa, the examples are endless. Which country that is resource rich has not been ridden by all kinds of deepening crises, never-ending crises, because they invited somebody to come and solve their problems? You look at an issue of Libya, for example. So whether it be dictatorship, authoritarianism, genocide, insecurity, killings, and so forth, we need to look for the solution within, and beyond within, regional solutions. Now, when you look at the digital space and all that's happening there, we have to be very, very careful with the narrative around the digital space, because we're living in the era of bot farms. Now, what's a bot farm? So a bot farm is you go, you invest, you set up a bunch of computers and gadgets and so forth, and they churn out millions and millions and millions of talking points on various issues. Now, I can set up a bot farm to speak on any issue and to create millions and billions of impressions on any issue whatsoever. Right. So there are all of these other intricate issues, and it's not just an IPOB issue. Even when we look at government issues, it seems that government also has their own bot farms that push their own agenda. It seems that internationally in America, MAGA has their own. It's not a Nigerian phenomenon. It's the digital age. Now, we need to be careful that this era that we're in, where warfare has been taken to the digital streets to incite people, because when you look at Madagascar, Nepal, Peru, which other countries am I leaving out? Look at most of the unrest that has happened. Kenya, a lot of the unrest, it begins in the digital space. People should advocate. People should stand for what they believe in. However, it cannot be insightful. Yes. It cannot be treasonous. Yes. It cannot be against the sovereignty of your country. Right. I denounce that.
Yes, advocate responsibly. And that's really the point. Well, let's tie the story in together. Well, in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, a Christian property owner in a viral video alleged that the Sharia Court of Appeals seized and auctioned his shop to recover a tenant's unpaid debt, despite his possession of title deeds and the tenant's goods remaining inside. The incident, which occurred on Tuesday, has sparked widespread debate about jurisdictional overreach. Well, let's take a look before we come back for a discussion.
I was in my shop 3 months ago. Some people just carry motor gun. Said they are from Sharia Court of Appeal, that their chief litigation and chief registrar has auctioned my shop. I told them that I don't have any case with them. Why should they auction my shop? I built this church in 2012. I rent their first shop in number. I rent one to somebody. They said the person in the shop, you saw it take credit. I told the person owner, why can't you provide his goods? That the goods in that shop, they know nothing about the goods. They say what they know is they want to take that shop. I said the decision should come to the court and tell the people I'm the owner of the shop. I go there, even though I'm a Christian. I told them why should a Christian go to Sharia Court? They say I must come if I'm the owner, that they will give me my shop and take all the documents to them. Even when I reach there, they even see the document, say they will do investigation. All I see today, they just come here, carry paper come, say that I auction the shop, that they are doing handover because I'm a Christian, because I'm Igbo, they collect my shop, Sharia Court. Even if they will follow the law, as a Christian, what I have to do with Sharia Court? Don't help me, don't help me, don't help me, Nigeria help me, my life finish here, my life finish here, my life finish here. I do that not enough.
So sad. You know, some legal experts have argued that this represents a clear overreach of Sharia court jurisdiction, as the property owner is a Christian, and the matter involves a commercial tenancy dispute rather than Islamic personal law. The 1999 Constitution explicitly restricts Sharia courts to matters of Islamic personal law where all parties are Muslim and have consented to the court's jurisdiction. We're yet to receive an official response from judicial authorities on this matter. Ayo.
So this is a note of warning. This incident is a red flag. I say this because, Ojy, you have already explained the constitutional provision for Sharia Appellate Court in Abuja. I'm sure a number of people did not even know that Sharia Court Appellate Court operates in the FCT, the Federal Capital Territory, that is supposed to be a mixed hub of people from different from different states, different ethnicities, different religious persuasions to live together in the Federal Capital Territory. To now see, as you already mentioned, the overreach of the Sharia Court. The first instance is that I believe that it's high time for us as a nation to revisit this Sharia Court provision. Because if we're saying that Nigeria is a secular state as stipulated in the Constitution, why do we have a court that is Islamic in its foundation, in the way it dispenses justice? And then when you talk about judicial or jurisdiction overreach, we see that it's a personal matter. So Sharia Court, Appellate Court is meant to deal with with issues around marriage and family, estate and succession, capacity, mutual consent. So matters, civil matters like that. And like you said, emphasis on all parties must be Muslim. When they begin to now interfere in matters that have to do with Christians and Muslims, then we have a problem. But that's what happens in life. Once you give an inch, you will take a mile. And that's why I'm saying that we need to revisit this. As long as the Christians cannot ask for their own special court for Christians alone, we are raising a state of anarchy and is a judicial system where the lines are blurred and justice is interpreted based on religious sentiment. In saying this, like now turning up all the other stories around, Nigeria, CPC, whether or not there's Christian genocide, this attack against Christians is this. I want to appeal to this administration. Recall that when the president, for the first time in a very long time, decided to go with a Muslim ticket, these were some of the concerns that were raised.
Yes.
The optics don't look good. You might not say, oh, there's no relation, but the truth is that people raise concerns around this. And if this is exacerbated under this administration, then it speaks very bad about how they've been able to manage Christian-Muslim relationships under this administration.
All right. I mean, we're yet to hear from the judicial authorities on this matter. As soon as we get more information and more details on this matter, we will bring you, our viewers, up to speed. In any ways, they say that Abuja, I'm getting a comment saying Abuja is under the penal code as part of old northern Nigeria region. So, I mean, until we see the documents on why this man's shop was seized, we will, make our final conclusion on the story.
That was a lot to unpack and frankly, a very heavy watch. My heart goes out to all those affected by the Niger State tanker explosion. It is truly heartbreaking to see 42 lives lost, especially under such tragic and arguably avoidable circumstances. What strikes me, and I'm sure many of you watching, is the stark reality of poverty driving people to risk their lives scooping fuel from a fallen tanker. As Ojy Okpe and Ayo rightly pointed out, this isn't just an accident. It is a symptom of deeper problems, primarily the deplorable states of our bad roads and a desperate populace. Ayo and Rufai really honed in on the issue of corruption, connecting the endless contracts awarded for road repair to continued suffering and loss of life. It begs the question, where is the accountability? And to my audience, I ask, have you or anyone you know experienced the dangers of our bad roads or witnessed such desperate acts driven by poverty? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Moving on to the disturbing discussions around Christian genocide claims amplified by IPOB-linked accounts. The sheer scale of reach on social media is alarming. As the Cable's report highlighted, while there are undeniable issues of insecurity and killings affecting both Christians and Muslims in Nigeria, as Rufai passionately argued, the way these narratives are framed and amplified can be incredibly divisive. It was important to hear Khan's clarification, pushing back against the trivialization of real suffering, but also emphasizing that not all violence is necessarily genocide in the way some group portrays it. We must also be vigilant against narrative, whether from internal groups or external influencers that seek to divide us for their own agendas. And finally, the Sharia Court incident in Abuja. This is a crucial conversation about judicial boundaries in a secular state. When a Sharia court overreaches into commercial dispute involving a Christian property owner, it raises fundamental questions about justice, religious freedom, and the rule of law. Ayo hit the nail on the head when she called this a red flag. The Constitution is clear, and as a nation, we must ensure that justice is dispensed fairly and within the confines of established laws, not based on religious sentiments that can blur lines and lead to unfair outcomes. What we've seen today are not isolated incidents, but interconnected facets of Nigerian complex struggle. The tanker explosion, the Christian genocide claims, and the Sharia court actions, they all point to a fundamental crisis of governance, corruption, and social cohesion. First, on infrastructure and poverty, the fact that people risk their life for spilled fuel is a damning indictment of our economic realities. This is not just about repairing roads. It is about creating sustainable livelihood and a safety net that prevents such desperate acts. The consistent failure to fix critical transport arteries, despite allocated funds, highlights systematic corruption that literally kills. This calls for unwavering transparency and accountability from all levels of government. Secondly, the politicization of religious and ethnic tensions. While genuine security challenges exist, the weaponization of Christian genocide claimed by groups like IPOB and its amplification online, it's a dangerous game. It's designed to incite, divide, and potentially garner international sympathy for separatist agendas. We must not allow real suffering to be co-opted for political mileage. At the same time, the government cannot dismiss this concern outright. There is a pain, there is loss, and there are communities that feel abandoned. The response must be comprehensive security for all citizens, not just a rebuttal of narrative. This also includes addressing issues like blasphemy accusation with the full force of constitutional law, ensuring justice, not mob rule. Third, judicial overreach and the secular state. The Sharia Court seizing a Christian shop for a commercial debt is a blatant disregard for Nigeria's secular principle and constitutional limits on Sharia law. This isn't just about one shop, it's about the very foundation of justice and religious freedom. Such actions erode trust, fuel religious divides, and ultimately threaten the unity of the nation. Our government must demonstrate its commitment to the Constitution unequivocally, ensuring that no citizen, regardless of their faith, is subjected to a legal system outside their constitutional rights. Ultimately, these issues demand that we as Nigerians look inward. Foreign interventions, as Vimbai rightly noted, often serves external interests and rarely solve our core problems. We need responsible leadership that prioritizes national unity, actively combat corruption, invest in infrastructure, and ensure justice for all. And as citizens, we need to foster greater media literacy, demand accountability, and actively resist narrative that seeks to tear us apart. That's all for today on Oba's Trending Gist. Thank you for tuning in and engaging with these critical discussions. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insights. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next episode. Until next time, stay informed and stay safe.